with our consent approval, our meeting minutes from June 10th, 2026. Do we have any questions or discussions on the meeting minutes before I entertain a motion to approve? No? Okay, then I'll entertain a motion to approve. Who wants to make the motion?
Sure. I'll make a motion to approve the Planning Commission meeting minutes from June 10th, 2026.
Can I get a second? A second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Okay, item 3 on our agenda tonight is to grant site plan amendment for the Misty Meadows Church House Building addition located at approximately 2360 North, 600 West. And we do have a memo from our staff from June 30th. Can we? Oh, you're already pulling that up. Here we go. Great. Sarah, was there anything you wanted to address?
Not specifically. We have gone through. Oh, thank you. We've gone through and looked at planning and engineering for the preliminary and final amended site plan, and found 4 items that will need to be completed before issuance of a building permit or before any construction commences on the project. So those are recommendations from staff. I guess if you can overview, essentially the church here is enlarging, adding an addition and a bower area in the back. And we've checked it for code compliance and engineering compliance. So after completing the recommended items, we feel just fine about this application.
Okay. Do you have any questions or discussion from our commissioners? No? Okay. Then I will entertain a motion to grant the site plan amendment.
I'll motion to grant site plan amendment for Misty Meadows Church House addition located at approximately 2360 North, 600 West in Harrisville, subject to the city planner's memo dated June 30th, 2026, the Harrisville City Municipal Code and all other staff and agency requirements.
Can I please have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Okay, item 4. This is when we are going to consider, what we'll be discussing is Ordinance 571, our ordinance amending the official zoning map and adopting a master development agreement for certain parcels located at approximately 640 West Harrisville Road. This was our item that was tabled at our June 10th, 2026 meeting. Just a note, because we have received public comments pertaining to this ordinance, including some that we all received upon our arrival tonight, we are going to reopen the public hearing to include the comments we've received since our last public hearing, which was June 10th, 2026. And we will request that further comments be regarding new information for more time to consider and discuss. All comments sent in after the close of the hearing in June have been included for consideration. Meaning, if you made a comment at our last meeting that was June 10th, or if you've sent one into the city via email or other forms of delivery, those, we want them all to become part of the public record. So all that were received up to and during the last meeting are already part of the meeting minutes that you can look up through the city website. And then any that you have tonight, we would just ask for consideration of time and respect for everyone present. You don't need to tell us your same comment, but if you have new comments, then you're welcome to come up when we open the public hearing. So these that we all received today as commissioners, we are going to be passing along to staff so that they become part of record and so they can be dealt with in the appropriate manner. So, yes, we're going to, before we open, we'll just pass them all down. Keep them in their envelopes if you would, please, so they can make sure they have everything.
So we won't go over I have to remember to use this mic. We won't go over the entire memo from last week, but just a reminder, this is a legislative item. So like our first item was an administrative item, and we're looking at whether it exactly, meets the code, we pass it. This is a legislative item. And so there is leeway in how you consider this, and there is no obligation to approve, but so this is under your discretion of what you feel is best for Harrisville City.
We need to reopen to include the comments, second, and then close the public hearing.
Yes. So before we have our public hearing, we will first hear from our applicant, so he can describe the project, and then so we will first hear from our applicant. Sorry, you're okay. You're okay. And then we can entertain a motion to open the reopen the public hearing. Then we'll be able to have our discussion and decide what action you'd like to take on this proposal.
Okay,
So,
Randy, if you'd like to come address us, please, thank you.
Do we have his,
It's good to be back.
Jenny
You guys have a court I can plug in?
Do we have a?
oh, okay, he's going to, so do you have your own presentation and we can set you up there? Is that best?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
good. I'm just gonna steal a chair because it's kind of a small podium.
And then we need to. Sorry.
It's an input change.
Yeah, we just need to.
Thanks for your patience from sitting that up. I apologize. I probably look tired because I feel tired. I did one of those youth pioneer tracks with my daughter,
Nice.
and I'm tired. She's not.
As you
though,
should
for some
be.
reason. Well, it's good to be back. Thank you again, Randy Smith, Fieldstone Homes, and I'm excited to show you guys some more detail about this project and kind of hope to address some of the public comments that we heard last time and just more detail on the project. And as I said, I'm a little tired, so I might read some of this so that I don't get things out of order or I don't miss stuff. So hopefully that's not offensive, but I'll look down here a little bit. So quick word on process, and Sarah already touched on this, right? That this is legislative. The ordinance itself, the HAWS we call it, right? Says right in it that it's legislative. It's development agreement. It goes to city council. So you guys are a recommending body, right, on that. And based on that, you don't have like a strict checklist like the administrative review. You got to check the boxes and meet all this. But instead, you lean on the general plan, and specifically on public health, safety, long-term compatibility, infrastructure capacity, kind of those elements. Does this project hit those, and is it viable, and can I recommend it, right? But it's discretionary, so it's at your discretion. I kind of always joke like, you could just deny because you don't like the color of my shirt, right? It's your discretion. So we'll go through some of the details, and then you guys get to decide. The general plan itself definitely is part of the question, and it does support and allow for mix of housing opportunities in various income levels, and to build sustainable mixed income neighborhoods across the city, right? And this is directly in the general plan, and not separating neighborhoods by income. So in the 2023 update, the city identified zoning overlays and development agreements, like we're proposing today, as its own chosen tool for added density, where standard zoning makes housing unattainable. And this application is using that tool, right? So that's kind of where we're headed. So, a real change. We understand that this is a real change for the neighbors that have farming activities nearby, that are concerned about compatibility, and those concerns deserve to be heard. Absolutely, right? Not dismissed. They are important. But this ordinance does exist to do what Harrisville has always done. Let families put down roots here, generation after generation. The families this project serves, they're outsiders. They're Harrisville's own kids and grandkids priced out of the town we grew up in. We talked about this last time. We pulled Weber County's median income just for the county, not any surrounding area. Used the 5-year average so that it's not a very volatile number, and that's the number that you see there. And in doing the ordinance, the ordinance itself identifies 120% AMI, and the state also identifies 120% AMI as an affordable metric. The other metric the state has is moderate income housing. Now that's the 80% AMI, and this project is not headed for that. So some clarity on that, because there were comments during the public comment lesson that talked about moderate income housing. That's different than the 120% AMI, and in the goals that we have on this project. So this is Harrisville and every other city, basically across Utah, that there are families, they're priced out of the market to no fault of their own. They don't have the same opportunities that their parents had when they bought their first home. And this project is not meant to offer people a free outcome. It's meant to offer them a fair opportunity to get into home ownership, which is the #1 builder of personal financial independence and wealth, is owning your home, owning property. And this project aims to provide a product aimed at their actual income levels. So, the plan, straightforward. You guys have seen this. This shows 31 lots. One of them is the existing house that faces Harrisville Road, which is kind of carved off and sold, and then 30 new homes. So this is the same plan that you guys have seen before, and under the ordinance, at least half of these new homes will be offered at that target value price, which we'll get into just right here. $498,000. We've worked through our performance, we've worked through our product, and I actually was doing the math today. I pulled today's interest rates, I put them in my mortgage calculator and added everything up. And actually at this price, a well-qualified 100% AMI could mortgage this home. It doesn't even need to be the 120. So it was interesting to see that. But this is a good target, and this is a target that in previous meetings we've had, we were just like, we need to get it sub 500, we need to get it sub 500. So that was our goal, and we've hit it, right? And I guess I should mention, in that price, so I shouldn't have shown the 2-story plan here, but I did, I don't know why. Because this is not one of the target value homes, but with the cottage style homes, which I think was on like this one or this one, that price is set to include a 2-car garage detached on the rear of the home. That's in that price, and that's not to say a home buyer has to buy the garage, because they could choose to lower their price and not do that option and go even lower than the $498 and save that for the future. Like, I want to build that later to save money now, right? So that's an option that we've built into this plan. So let's talk about room lot. We're gonna start getting into some of the variances, I guess, that we're requesting with the project. The Haas ordinance does allow for variances, and they put it on me as a developer that I need to justify why those are okay. So let me try to justify those for you and see if I can, right? We'll go through it. So one of them is a 4,000 square foot minimum. Staff report actually showed that we had lots less than 4,000 square feet. That's just, I apologize. In our concept planning, the lot lines didn't get moved. We'll hit 4,000 square feet on all the lots. So we'll adjust our concept to hit that. We're not asking for a variance there. So hopefully that clears that. I mean, the other ones were only short, like 50 square feet or something, right? Pretty close. So we want to be able to offer these 4,000 square foot homes with lot widths 40 to 46 feet. I'll get into more detail on that later. Holding 46 kind of across the board, that was our goal, 46 on all of the lots. There is no HOA. The buyers are own their homes, free and clear of any association dues, on a lot with a real yard and a nice space. So we'll get into some of these details. Every target value home will carry a 20-year deed restriction. So some of the comments were worried about like renters and what's happening there. And the deed restriction requires to be owner occupied, meaning the owner of the home lives in the home. And the ordinance allows some exceptions to that, but generally that's the idea. And that doesn't mean they can't sell the home. It just means whoever they sell it to and they buy it, as long as that 20 years is still in play, it doesn't reset, then the next owner also has to live in the home that they own, right? And there is pride in ownership. You take better care of your house, right? So that's the goal, and that's the mechanism that's happening in this project also. So for the first 30 days, any of these target value priced homes are listed. They're listed exclusively, or we can only accept contracts to buy from first-time home buyers, critical and essential workers. Right, there's a list in the ordinance, and we're not asking for any variance from that. We're like, yeah, we'll offer it that way, and they will get kind of the first right of refusal, or the first chance to purchase these homes, which is again the intent of the ordinance. After that period, it opens up, and we can go broader than that. But that doesn't change the deed restriction. Deed restriction's there regardless of the buyer. All right, so the design. We are offering 2-story garage forward plans and the cottage plans with the optional rear garage in multiple architectural styles, different roof lines, different architectural elements, creating variety and adding to the variety that's already out in that part of the community. I guess I should throw in to our own horn. Fieldstone, we build a fantastic product, timeless, high quality. We use the cementous siding boards, the hardy board, right? That is pre-colored, doesn't need to be painted for 50 years, and it's not wood. It doesn't rot, it doesn't burn. We just use high quality products, and we're proud of that, right? So, respecting the land next door. Good neighbors are good stewards, and that's the standard we're building to. Every lot that backs up against someone else's, really anyone else's lot, whether it's agriculture or whatever it may be, privacy fence installed by the developer. So basically, it's included in the cost of any home anybody buys. It's installed probably before we even build their house. I'll have to see how that time works out, but they will have the fences on an option, and it's unified. It looks the same around the community, so it looks nice. You don't have one color and then another color and then a chain link and then something else, right? Nice privacy fence to separate these. Also, I guess it's worth noting, so the application is for an overlay. It doesn't change the base zoning, right? So the adjacent properties are still next to a property that's zoned the same as it was, and the zone is the same as theirs. It just has an overlay on it, so it doesn't impact the neighbor's use. They can still farm, they can still do the things that they're doing. They just have more families living by them, right? That is the difference, right? And recognize that is a difference. So every HAWS approval is its own discretionary decision on its own development agreement. And it doesn't set a precedent. It doesn't mean you have to approve it again next door or anywhere else. It's not a precedent. Everyone has to stand on its own merits. I hope to show you today that this one can't stand on its merits, but recognize also that it's a hard decision. All right. So this is a small 5-acre infill parcel. We'll talk about 5 acres in a minute. On Harrisville Road, right? It's not a template for the ag land around it. There are different size lots all around it: 2 acres, 3 acres, 1 acre. Like they kind of fluctuate. This one's 5 acres in, or I'll say very, very close to 5 acres. Again, I'll get to that in a minute. This land, by right, it is zoned for single-family detached residential homes, right? So it's just the lot size. That's the only zoning criteria that the overlay is modifying. It's not changing the actual use of single-family detached residential. We're not asking for special treatment. We're just asking to use the flexibility of the commission that you have already built into the ordinance for the site. The ordinance says that there are certain design standards that you want to hit, and we are looking to deviate a little bit from those, and we'll go, and I'll get more detail on that in just a moment. Well, maybe we'll just get into some of it now. And so, the ordinance asks for 40-foot wide frontage if it's not garage forward, and 50 if it is garage forward. We're asking to actually, can we just average them all at 46? And the reason we're asking for that is we want a wider lot on the cottage than a 40. We want to add that 6 feet so we can fit a drive lane down the side of the house and still fit 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house to get to that back garage. And so we're just asking for some trade-off, like 4 feet less on the garage forward plans and approximately 6 feet more on the garage rear plans. So that's one of the requests that we have. We're also requesting on the cottage lots, those ones allow the home to sit a little further forward because there's no front driveway. The driveway's on the side of the home. We were asking to allow the front porch to come into the front setback 4 feet. Recognize that we still need to work a little bit with the engineer on that, but that is the current request. And keeping the house at the setback or further back, but allowing that porch. And the reason for that is, again, it's to maximize backyard space, which is the premium, right? Trying to give as much backyard space as we can, and also to open up the tighter lots, allowing access to that garage that's in the back for the cottage homes. And lastly, which we can show you on the site plan, and we talked about this last time, a modified road section that we've talked about. We had talked about doing 28 feet of asphalt, and working with staff and with engineering. They first said, yeah, they gave us a thumbs up on 28, and then they're like, well, actually, we've thought more about it, and we want 30, and we're okay with that, we'll modify. So the plan that you have now in the package shows 28, but we're okay to update that to 30. So when I get to the end, when making a motion, excuse me, that is one piece that you would want to include as a condition in changing, because the application has it at 28 feet. So the condition would be, we need to change that to 30, which we're happy to do. So we'll revisit some of those in here in just a moment. So keeping the decision local. So one more thing worth knowing, it seems that every year, every legislative session, the state legislature consider bills to mandate smaller lot sizes statewide, whether cities want it or not. This year it was House Bill 184. It was defeated, right? And this pattern, it just repeats year over year, and we kind of hear the threats. I expect to hear it again next session. We're gonna force some zoning thing. The League of Cities and Towns has said plainly, we want partnership, not preemption. And kudos to Harrisville. I mean, you're the first, as far as I know, kind of the only city to say, okay, we're gonna make a way to do this, right? And this is what the League of Cities and Towns is saying. Yeah, allow the cities to find a way, and you guys are going for it. So the tool's here. It's been approved. It's in ordinance, and again, it's completely discretionary. So our ask. We respectfully ask for a positive recommendation from the Planning Commission. We need to go to the City Council, and they're ultimately the approving body. for adoption of this. So the plan that we're proposing is, I mean, it falls squarely within your rights to recommend this for approval. It's got all the aspects, and I'm happy to address any other comments. Let me jump here. So, it's a quick summary. Okay, acreage. We were talking about acreage. So when we do our concept planning, our engineers, surveyors, they give us, oh, here's your site, 5.0 acres to the 10th. So the site, as surveyed, is actually 4.964 acres. We are 0.037 acres short of the 5 acre piece. Now, as far as the development agreement goes, a development agreement can decide that that's okay. But I also want to be like very straightforward with everybody that how the ordinance is written. There's a specific section in the ordinance that says, hey, you can vary from these things if you show us why. But the acreage requirement is not in that section. And so it's not clear to me entirely how that falls. Does this get rounded to the 10th and it's okay, or is it not okay? And what options do we have? Okay, so we'll talk about that one in a second, because I'll acknowledge I'm an engineer. 4.964 is not 5. It's not right, and so we'll acknowledge that. And I think we've had a great relationship with staff and with the city, and just we've been transparent, and it's our values. It's Fieldstone, and we just stay above board. That's how we operate. One thing that we did not talk about earlier is density. Okay, so the ordinance talks about, again, in this section with flexibility, talks about 6 units per acre. We're asking for 6 1/4. Basically, that's one additional home to fit in there. The lot width averaging we talked about. Some of the lots, according to the ordinance, should be 50 feet. But we're asking, hey, can we average them all out to about 46 and bring those 50 feet down to the 46? The front porch extensions into the setback. And the modified road section, right? So these are the pieces, and I welcome a conversation about these. Like, I don't want to put this out and say, hey, this is the deal, take it or don't take it. I would rather have you tell me, you know what, we cannot handle that one extra house. Will you take that one out, or whatever it might be, right? So let me know, and then we can work through it. And if the project doesn't pencil, unfortunately, we won't build it, right? Because we can't. But we want to make it. We want to make the project work. So these are the things that we're asking for. I think my understanding is the development agreement can help with the acreage piece. If it doesn't, there are other options. For example, you as a planning commission can recommend us for approval, and also recommend in the same recommendation that we amend the Haas ordinance to be 4.9 acres, or amend the Haas ordinance to move the acreage into the flexibility section so that the city council and planning commission can review that with a little bit of flexibility. So there are options for that too. For your consideration, like I mentioned earlier, motion to recommend approval of 571 to the city council. So, and I added here, subject to the concept. I wrote that twice. There's an engineering word for you. If I didn't tell you, we probably wouldn't have seen it because it's on 2 lines. Being updated to include the 30-foot asphalt width, right? Because as I said, the application shows 28. So putting that as a condition requirements to fix it, right? So that's the idea. And any other thing that can be added in there. So that's kind of the extent of my presentation. I do have more information that I can provide you about studies related to demand and cost, and value comparison, effect of the value on neighboring properties, state laws around protecting existing agricultural uses, water and drainage. That one probably should be addressed real quick here. I've met the neighbor Warren. I've seen his house and the things that he talked about in the last meeting. This development will actually help him a lot, and I understand why having a storm basin over there kind of frightens him. But But doing this development will cut off all the flood irrigation, and the irrigation water will be routed differently away from his property. And part of our development is to install off-site storm sewer pipes in Harrisville Road to collect our stormwater and take it away from the site. So a stormwater basin like the one that we're proposing for a 100-year storm will fill up and drain in less than 8 hours, and in a 10-year storm, it's probably less than 4 hours. And that means statistically a storm that happens once every 100 years, so that's a lot of rain, that's a big storm. That's kind of the range that pond fills up and then it empties. So it doesn't hold water. The state does require some permanent retention volume, but we have really shallow groundwater, so we'll have to work through that with engineering, but that's easy enough to work through. So just some guidance on that we're actually going to improve the condition over there, and hopefully some pumps won't have to run at all anymore, right? Groundwater is shallow, so I don't know how that falls out, but as far as the condition today versus what we're proposing, we're improving that condition. So that one was worth mentioning. But so I do, like I said, and even information on infrastructure capacity. All cities have minimum infrastructure sizes, and the minimum sizes of infrastructure are capable of serving much more than this area currently is using. So there is plenty of infrastructure, and we're building more to bring that storm sewer in that doesn't exist currently. So I've said a lot. I appreciate you guys are so attentive and giving me good eye contact. I love it. Keep me on my toes. But I just want to hear from you, like, what questions can I answer? What's a go? What's a no go?
Thank you so much for all of your details and presentation. Before we give it to the commissioners, I'd like to ask any clarifying questions of Mr. Smith. Is there anything you want to address, or should we let them ask him first before we go to you in the public hearing?
So I think it would be best to first hold the public hearing,
okay.
And then in your discussion, you, after you've collected all of your thoughts and had your discussion, then you can bring Randy back up for any questions that you'd like him to address, any questions you'd like staff to address. Okay. But I think now would be a good time to hold the public hearing. Okay. I know last time we had some applause, and just a reminder that that's not really acceptable in this forum. We want to hear everyone's comments, but we ask that you don't applaud. If you agree with someone, please come up, and you can simply state, if you haven't been up yet, that you agree with their comments, and that's how we'll know that you've been heard.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so we are going to open the public hearing here shortly, and as a clarification, this is reopening the public hearing that we began at our June meeting, June 10th, 2026. So comments, our usual rules, 3 minutes or less, please. And if you'll state your name and address when you get to the podium. So I will entertain a motion to open the public hearing from one of my fellow commissioners. You can just say, I'd like to motion. Yes. So you say the whole thing.
Motion.
I motion to open the public hearing, or reopen from our June 10th, 2026. Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Public's welcome to approach the podium and address us.
Roger Schumann, and I live at 1870 North, 750 West. I'm a rural residential landowner, and I understand also the issues that the city faces with my position I hold in the city as the mayor. But I also realize too that you have a general plan, and we can sit back and debate what the general plan rule is and what words mean. But at the end of the day, I think that the intent that was done in 2019 when that was put into place, it's there to help protect the interests of the people that are building around, or that just bought property next to this particular property. And I don't think it does enough to drop in a high-density development right in the middle of a fully agricultural area, just like I said in my letter to you, that I don't think it's the right place for this development. I don't think it gives you enough room to mitigate between other properties. If you look at the general plan, it states in there that you can go to the semi-rural residential, not just rural residential. And the intent of that is so that you could transfer from one size property to the next, not necessarily jumping from a rural residential lot that goes into 4,000 square foot lots. That's a big change. And the developer gave you a real good sales pitch, and I think you need to read between the lines of the sales pitch. You've developed a lot of property with a lot of high density, providing all different types of living in Harrisville City. I don't think we have any obligation to put it in this particular space. I think there's other places within Harrisville that it might fit, but in this one it doesn't. And yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
It's way too high. Mike Alpass, 467 West Checker Lane. So we sit and listen to him. These lots are so small that we have to change sizes. We have to encroach 4 feet. To me, that's just a definite sign that it's too small. And there's going to be a time and a place for this kind of development, but I don't think this is the place.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Kirk Nigro, 530 West Harrisville Road. Appreciate the developer presenting and coming to some counter arguments with some of the discussion we had before. I think that's a good approach. So I definitely want to give kudos for that. I am definitely on the mayor's side. I feel this high dense area is not a good fit where it's at, and I fully understand that dense housing has its place, typically close to amenities. Close to areas that have a reasonable step to it, not just pure rural to dense, right next to each other, right in the middle, with nothing around it. That's concerning. I do know that when they talked about the overlay, when we were adopting that ordinance, we said the overlay is not going to be shoved in on us. We will have the ability to comment and control and be able to maintain the culture that we have here in Harrisville. So this sounds like when I hear staff say we have an obligation, that seems to be a different tone, that now anyone can come in and force their development on us is concerning. The other one I have is if we're having variances to the ordinance, or they're asking for exceptions or differences, or even asking to amend the ordinance to get their development in place, that does set a really slippery slope for any developer coming in, especially some of the high-powered developers. You get attorneys involved. I deal with that daily. It's a tough situation in my vocation, and I've been on the other side. I get it. But it sometimes you bend because the momentum happens. The resources aren't available to defend that. And so I would we have to stand firm to whatever the ordinance is. The other comment that I have is there are variances that are not complying with the ordinance. Should a permit get in place, I think there are people that definitely feel they have standing that will challenge and will appeal that permit. So even if that does get approved, but it is not following the ordinance, Morgan County dealt with that with Wasatch Peaks. It was a nasty nightmare. So the issue that you run into is this is the first that's coming in place. We love our town, we love the culture, and if we don't feel it's a fit, we're going to fight tooth and nail to prevent this from happening and ensure that everyone follows the rules as they're stated. So keep that in mind, that we're going to hold the city accountable, as well as those that are making the decision, to upholding the rules that we have in place. And my time is up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sean Douglas, 628 West Harrisville Road. I would counter that the 5 acre is not challengeable. That is a minimum. It's not in the area that is negotiable. And where do you start that? Like if it's 5, it says 5 is the minimum. So he suggested that you change the ordinance. So every time somebody comes in, are we gonna rewrite this overlay zone because somebody has 4.75, the next guy has 3? Can we just rewrite the ordinance every time it comes? I think that's a terrible slope to be on too, because you set an ordinance, you set a precedence, you told us what it would be. When you set this ordinance up, you said it will be a minimum of 5. Why would we change that? The other thing stated directly from your general plan is that you will protect the residential and agricultural areas. Tell me how this protects them. I just don't see that when you're putting 30 neighbors in a neighborhood that only has probably 15 to 20 total from the railroad tracks to Highway 89. Where's the compatibility with parks? You're putting young families in here. You know they're going to have a bunch of kids. It says that you're going to provide a path to a park. Does Highway 89 provide a pathway to a park? Where is the park? There's just so many problems with this in the fit with the neighborhood. Like, we have been here 30 plus years. Most of the people on that road have been here 20 plus years. Where's the compatibility with us? We rely on you as our neighbors, our protectors, to take care of the people that are here. Like, it's great to have new people come, and maybe some of them will be Harrisville residents that are already here and they have a family and that. But you have provided a ton of this type of density across the street, and at a way cheaper price. Now, I get attainable housing, but when you put a number to his price per square foot, is $400 a square foot attainable? That's some of the highest priced real estate per foot that you have in Harrisville right now, when you do it by the square foot based on the price. I would just ask that you protect us that have been here first, and then find a way to bring new people in without destroying what we already have. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
My name's Steve Everett, 616 West Harrisville Road, and I was born and raised in Ogden City in the low rent district. These houses are crummy looking. They're a lot like the crummy looking houses in Ogden City. I delivered newspapers for many years in Ogden City, and they were crummy 60 and 70 years ago, and they're crummy today. This will turn into a slum of Harrisville. We are better than that. We need better things than that, and I think it would be a bad thing to do to put that many houses on 5 acres of ground. That's way too many, and we can do better. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Randy Bick. I live at 689 West Harrisville Road, and I want to throw my support behind these people that spoke. This is our community. I look at these pictures on the walls. That's not our community, what he's planning. And having him sit up here and try to fit this and fit that and move this and squeeze that, that's not Harrisville. He knew how many houses he could put on that lot when they bought that property. 1 acre per house, that's our code, that's our ordinances. I don't think this is the right place for that. It doesn't fit our neighborhood at all, as it's been said many times. We can't show flexibility to this, or we're going to turn into all these other cities with these crappy housing developments shoved in there and ruin our community. There's not very many places like Harrisville left. And you are our neighbors, and you do belong to our community. There is no place for this. We can do better than this. We can build a nice housing development there with a few homes that fit our community, and cramming all these people into this district isn't going to help. I know I've said this before. It's just, this is our home. You're part of our home. Don't allow this. If you allow this, we'll never stop. Every time a house gets sold, we'll go through the same crap again and again. So please turn this down and get better planning so that we don't have all this around us. This is our home.
Thank you.
would appreciate hearing from the Planning Commission if you can tell us how putting this high-density community enhances and improves our surrounding neighborhoods. How will our citizens and city benefit from this anomaly? Please tell us why we should be happy if the city decides to encourage this odd development in our backyards.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Last call for any new comments. All right, I'd like to entertain a motion to close the public hearing from one of my fellow commissioners.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Can we have a second? A second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, Sarah, did you have anything you wanted to address right now, or should we, what would you like us to do next?
No.
So we make sure we hit all of our
I'd
points.
like to have them come back up.
Okay.
and ask them.
Okay,
Just
so,
one point one thing I can address.
okay,
So I don't see that staff has ever stated this as an obligation for you to approve. However, we do have an obligation to hear the applications that come in, and we as staff feel that it's met the criteria to be heard. But there is no obligation, which we've stated several times. This is a legislative decision. There is no obligation to approve this. This ordinance is specifically set so that we can determine the places we feel are appropriate for this. It was set as an overlay zone, not a mandatory, specifically which areas would be rezoned. And for that reason, we entertain all the applications that come in, and then you as a planning commission get to decide the appropriateness of the location.
yes, thanks for the
Yes,
clarification.
thank you, that's really nicely said.
All right, Mr. Smith, would you like to come back to
Yes,
the podium?
please.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about the housing. What I would love to know is what is the square footage of a cottage versus the 1 and 2 level homes?
The cottage ones are currently designed at 1,200 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, vaulted ceilings, nice product. The 2-story units, again, no basements in this area because groundwater is shallow. They're like a 1,500, 1,600 square foot, a little bit bigger, but usually have an open below section. So sometimes there's an option to close the open to below and have an additional room that might adjust some of the square footage. But that's the basis. Yeah.
Okay, for those of us that don't do the math really quickly, tell me, so if they do add a garage to their backyard, how much space would be between the garage and the back fence? How
The
much,
garage in the back
how
fence.
much usable space for a family to move into something like that?
So are you thinking like
You mean
how much
yard
backyard
size?
space is
Yeah,
there?
so if you do decide to put in the garage, how much space between the finished garage and the back fence?
So the garage is, as an accessory structure, just follow the typical Harrisville ordinance
Right.
for it. Except I think it can be, depending on its roof, 1 feet or 3 feet. But there's a little space. It doesn't encompass the whole backyard though, only the side with the driveway. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it could be close to that fence.
So it'll go close to the edge of the fence?
It'd be in the corner of the property to line up with the side driveway.
So do you have a measurement for how much usable land is still there behind the house?
As far as the backyard?
Yeah,
Well, so-
garden, yard.
The lots vary in depth. So some of them are deeper than others. I'm trying to remember the rear setback, 20 feet? I can't remember.
Between the house and
The rear setback to house and back.
um,
I mean, we can pull up the concept plan and look.
sorry, you're talking Okay, that is
Back
in
there.
between the house and the garage itself.
The house and the rear property line.
Oh, the house and the rear property line is
Offset.
20 feet
I think
is
it's a 20
required.
So
yeah.
they have a minimum of a 20-foot backyard, but the lots are deeper than that, especially the ones that would take the rear garage. So there is space back there. I don't have an exact like square footage, but
So when you were considering these house designs, did you take into account how the houses look around them? I'm just curious.
no, we did, well, we don't model them typically after the old architectural styles or older architectural styles. So typically, no.
Okay, so is this kind of like a standard boilerplate in terms of development, housing that you've done in other places that
We've never built this
work
before.
well in here?
We designed these products for this project. Now the garage forward plans are an adjustment to products that we've done before. So we built those in multiple places, right? Pretty similar. And then, I mean, it's pretty common among a lot of builders to have those styles, the farmhouse style. Transitional is a little bit newer, but and then craftsman style. These are very common styles, architectural styles that are used through a lot of builders. So you'll see similarities with that. But the product that I brought up on screen was done for this project. We haven't built that exact product yet. We have a problem with that actually. We're supposed to be a production builder. We seem to design the product on every project. But
With some similarities, I would imagine,
Right.
between.
well, yeah, you take a product and we're like, oh, we can make this a little better. Do this and do this and do this, right?
Make a few tweaks.
But the cottage homes we've never built before, right? And we designed that specific for this project. And I recognize that we are asking for variances, but the reason we're asking is because we're hitting a price point that you asked us to hit. Generally, developers get their approval and they can sell it home for whatever they want to make their money back. And this is where we're trying to be controlled. We've never done this as a developer to be price controlled. It's kind of high risk, but we're willing to go after it because housing it's important to us. Yeah, I mean, the people who will live in these homes, they can't be here tonight to represent themselves to say, hey, please approve this. And that's a true story for every project I ever do in every city. And the other true story, and it's okay to be angry. Like, I understand, and I know that I'm the big bad developer, right? And I'm trying to line my pockets and all the things, right? But no matter where we propose this, we will have this same response. I have this response on every project in every city. I've done this for a long time. Change is hard, and people always think, "Oh, we support development, just not here, over there." So I don't envy your position. You guys are in a very hard position, and honestly, I'm in a hard position, Mr. Mayor. Like, how do I compete with that, right? But I present, and then it's discretionary. So you guys get to decide what your recommendation is, and ultimately the council with the mayor get to decide whether it's a go or a no, right? What other questions can I? Yeah.
I have a question about, was there a cost difference between the cottage style homes and the 2-story homes?
Yeah, there is. I don't know for sure yet, right? So we are committed to locking down the cottage homes with the garage at that 498, like in the presentation in the development area. We're contractually obligated to offer at that price.
Which is 50% of the homestead.
Yeah.
Just to remind all of us too.
Yeah. 15 of the 30 new homes, that's what those are meant to be. The other ones, as currently performing, so of course it depends on options and what people choose, right? And sometimes lot premiums if one lot's bigger than another. But they're honestly not far off. I mean, they're falling in the 530, 540 range. And I'm not committing to that. I'm sharing it with you. I'll be open. But again, when lumber changes, when concrete changes, whatever might happen, that's the risk that we're taking on the cottage homes. But market will kind of dictate the garage forward homes. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you. What other questions or clarifications do we have?
So no HOA.
No HOA.
HOA.
We did talk about, one of the things that's come up in discussion before, and a lot of our comments that have already been recorded are, is there enough variability? That's one of the things that's, part of our
Housing.
part of the ordinance 571. Is there enough variability? Do we feel like there's too much sameness? Do we feel like there is, just the right balance of what would be there? And not just, is this a good fit for the community overall, but, is this location the best fit? Is the timing the best fit? All of those things.
And to the variability, I showed you one plan of every house, but we have different color palettes, right? So we'll apply different color palettes to the homes as well. And so that, again, can provide some. And I'm not sure if the city has done this, but we don't let houses that are across the street from each other be the same, or next to each other be the same, so we force a mix through the community. Ruben, any questions from you?
Yeah. Well, comment, because I look at the other side of it also, is you have a plot of land there, and I guess the owner either gets old or blood that doesn't want to work it anymore. So now you just got a whole 5 acres just sitting there. To let that just sit there and he's not doing anything, using it or anything. And that's something you could use it for, like you said, build a subdivision and actually get some use off of that land instead of just sitting there statically, not doing anything. And I can see that. I can see where that's an idea. Let's try to do that. At the same time, to the degree of which is being proposed, that kind of little ouch. So I'm not saying, like you say, maybe eventually it might happen, and future knows what knows, but at the degree right now, and the people currently in there have a good say in it too, as far as what's going in there. So I think maybe, like you said, there's a way to work around that, maybe.
Right.
Something to look at.
And I tell you, as a developer, right, yeah, I can do 4 1-acre lots. Probably, with new construction on a 1-acre lot, $1.5 million plus, the goal is to beat a price point. And I could do something in between too, right? But I can't do something in between and hit that price point. So that's the barrier that I'm at. So, but I just want to build homes. And owner occupied, we love it. Yeah. We don't do any rental product. We sell all our stuff. So.
Do you have any developments close by?
Riverdale, we've got one that's active right now, where the old Coleman View Drive-In Theater was. So the theater came down. We're building. So Alpine Homes has a few lots in the middle, and then we're building a subdivision all around it. So we have an open model right there if you wanted to go see our products.
Similar plan?
Larger a little bit over there. Lots are a little bit bigger. And then we have more communities generally down south, further south. But that would be the closest one. Yeah. But our website, if you jump on our website, it'll show you all the communities and give you pictures of all the homes and show you where there are if you want to visit. If you want to go see the $1.2, $1.3 billion product, Spanish Fork's got it. I love that product. It's very nice. And those are on 15,000 square foot lots, right? Not 40.
Interesting, thank you.
And what else is everyone wanting to ask or discuss amongst us, or questions for staff, or for Randy, what we've got under?
We do have a map that shows the access from the project over to the Harrisville Park. We said that to staff. I could have pulled it up. If you want to see the map, I can show it to you, but I think you guys know.
I'm familiar, it's crossing it.
Right.
Also, sorry,
There's
a light and a
connectivity
sidewalk
on the way.
and a signal.
Yeah, so,
Okay, so as a reminder to all of us and for those that are here, what our motion will be is if we're passing along a favorable recommendation, or yes, whether we are going to adopt or not adopt ordinance 571, which I think, am I the only one that has it on my, we probably all have it, just on our agendas. So we'll talk about ordinance 571 and the master development agreement. We'll cite both of them in whatever motion we decide to make. So if we don't have any other questions, we just need to decide right now if we're going to recommend adopting or not adopting ordinance 571 and the master development agreement. So that's what I'm entertaining right now, if one of you wants to make a motion.
We need to untable.
What's?
No.
You haven't untabled this agenda item.
We have it listed that we could table it again, is that
No,
right?
you haven't untabled it to discuss it.
I believe when we opened,
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, that's good. When we opened the item this time, that covers the untabling at the same time. I just want to remind the commissioners and everyone here that this is a recommendation to the city council.
Yep.
Whatever decision is taken here is simply a recommendation, and from there, there will be another public hearing held at the city council stage, no matter what the recommendation is coming from this body. And so just wanted to make sure that was clear.
Thank you. Okay. Chad, did you
You
want
all
to,
right?
Commissioner Holder?
Is everybody okay?
Yeah, you going to make a motion?
First of all, I want to thank the developer for a good presentation and for sharing with us and being open with us about the positives and not so positives of the development. I appreciate that big time. And one of the things that I have come to understand more than any other is that we have two Harrisvilles. We have a rural and agricultural Harrisville, and then we have a more updated, more modern, less rural Harrisville. And what I think I've come to the conclusion is that this is not a good fit for this particular part of Harrisville, but it would be a great fit in another part of Harrisville. And so, having said that, my motion would be that we not adopt the recommendation, not adopt this ordinance 571, and pass along a negative recommendation to the city council.
Is that sufficient language? I think you covered it.
Yes. Okay, that's sufficient.
Can I get a second to Commissioner Holbrook's motion?
I'll second that.
Do we need to do a roll call for this?
Yes.
Okay. Do I do that or do you do that? Okay, just checking. Okay. Commissioner Morales, yea or nay?
Nay.
Oh, okay.
Clarify.
So he made a motion, just so we clarify, he made a motion that we are not adopting the ordinance. So if you say nay, you want the ordinance adopted.
Double negative.
Yes, if you say yay, you're agreeing with him. Okay, so one more time, Commissioner Morales?
Yay.
Okay. Commissioner Palmer?
Yay.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yay.
Commissioner Holbrook? And Chair Franco, yay. Okay, that motion is closed. Do we need to do anything else for that particular one? No. Okay, thank you. Item 5 on our agenda, we do have public comments. This is the same as our public hearing, 3-minute maximum. We don't need to make a motion to open anything because it's not a hearing. It's just standard public comments. So if you would like to comment, please come up to the podium and state your name.
Randy Beck, 689 West Harrisville Road. I just want to say thank you for standing up for Harrisville. I really appreciate it. I think it's excellent comments that were made, and you had a good presentation as well. This is at the right place, and thank you.
Thank you.
Sean Douglas, 628 West Harrisville Rd. I can only imagine the position you were in tonight. I mean, you have pressure from both sides. As a Harrisville resident for 30 plus years, I applaud you listening to us. And I feel making the right decision. I know he disagrees with us as residents, and he'll build some nice houses somewhere for sure. But thank you again from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you.
Renee Dobbs, 679 West Harrisville Road, 679. I want to say thank you very much. We appreciate you recognizing our objections and our concerns. My husband and I lived in Harrisville for 46 years, and this does not fit. And we appreciate your recognizing that. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm going to address you as Mayor Schuman at 1870 North, 750 West. I really appreciate the work you guys do. I served for 19 years on the Planning Commission, so I know what kind of stresses and problems you run into with, all these different opinions, and it's important that we follow what our general plan is and the things that we put forth. The work that's gone on years before some of you, and some of you have dealt with it. It's those are the things you're looking for the vision of the city and how that all fits together. So I appreciate your work and thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Steve Everett, 616 West Harrisville Road. Thank you very much for your service. Thank you for listening to us, and we appreciate you 100%. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kirk Nigro at 530 West Harrisville Road. Echo everyone else. Thank you for your consideration. Thank you for the process. Even the guidance, as we don't misunderstand, but I think really appreciate the process. And again, I definitely agree that we appreciate dollars being invested in our community. Just that spot didn't seem to be a fit. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Last call for any public comments? Okay, thank you. Moving on to item 6. Do we have any staff follow-up while we're all here?
Nothing from staff at this
Okay.
time.
Do you have any questions or anything that needs to be addressed on record from the commissioners while we're here? No? Okay. All right, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. That's a fun one. Who wants to make that one?
I'll second that.
Oh, I make the motion.
Oh, I make.
You make us a motion
Motion
to adjourn.
you try it.
I'll make the motion to adjourn this meeting.
Commissioner Morales, would you like to second that?
Can I second that?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned.
Thanks everybody for your concern.